Okay guys, the last video we were talking about how to understand the linked list and how to add data, integer data, to the beginning of the linked list. Now with this video we will try to understand how to add data to the end of the linked list. So if our linked list, exactly as we said in the last time, that they are boxes, okay, and each box has two places, and each one has the data. And next, this is the head and this is the end. Okay, now it's exactly the same. Okay, since we have data and next, and this has next, and this has item and null, we will still use our struct exactly the same. Okay, and the struct will have int to the data, and we'll have struct node to the next pointer. Okay, now the idea of adding this, okay, the thing is we will check first. Okay, we will check if, let me just delete this so it's going to be easier for us. So we already know that this is the head and the data and stuff, right? So okay, we will check if the first if the head, which is this, the head, if the head is empty, then we will still gonna add to the head. Okay, why we will say, okay, if you want us to add to the end, why we're gonna add to the head? Because if we add the head in here, it's to the end, because there's nothing in here. And then if we add something still to the end, to the beginning, that will be pushed to go to the end. So let's go ahead and do our function, so it's going to be more easy for us to understand. So we will have our node function, and that we will call it insert to the end, for example. Okay, and then the parameter that we have in here, that will be node. Okay, head and item. Perfecto. Now you're gonna say, okay, wait a second. Now again, you said that we're gonna add to the end. Why do we have head in here? I'm gonna tell you that the whole main idea about the linked list is the head. We cannot avoid that head. We always have to compare with head. We always have to use head with all our functions. Okay, it's exactly, if there's no head, that means the linked list is just nothing, does not mean anything. And the linked list is exactly like a human or animal or whatever. Okay, so if a human lost his, if a human lost his two hands, he still can survive and he still can live. If he lost his two legs, he still can live with no problem. But if he's lost her head, that means the end. He's not gonna survive. He will die. Okay, perfect. Now again, since we are adding, we still have to have our temp node. Okay, so we will say that we will have our node, the temp node, and as we learned from the other video, we have to allocate that node, the temporary node, and that will be Malik or temp, and then we have node, and then we have Malik to the size of node with no star, since we have one star in here. Okay, and then we will introduce our temporary node, and of course it has data, and the data goes, that should be equal, okay, to the item, and temp next, that will be equal to what? That will be equal to 2 null. That will be equal to null. Okay. Now, when we start from the beginning, we will check first if the first node is empty or not. Okay. Just delete this. Now, we will ask and we will say if the head will be equal to null, so there's no problem. We're gonna go ahead and then we will add a head will be equal to the temp. We explained about it. So if we have 5 in here, that was gonna go boom and here and add that 5 in here, and this is the next, right? Okay, now what about else? What about is not empty? What about if we have, yeah, I'm gonna put it in here more because I want to just do more stuff to draw. Okay, perfect. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's say that we have, for example, we have 5, we have 10, we have 8. Okay. Now look at the idea. What about if it's the head is not free? Okay, so look at this. We need to transfer from node to node to check which node is empty in order to add our data. Okay, so what we have to use, we have to get another node now, and then that node will be T. Okay, that will be as traverse, so that will travel from place to place in order to check if the place is empty. Now, do not get confused about the temporary node and the traverse node. This meant to be to add. Okay, this, the T, meant to be for check. So checking with T, and then we were adding with the temp. Okay, back to our code. Now we have to go in here. Let's just get it like this. Okay, we have to get in here. Okay, we will check first with the head. Okay, and then if that's not empty, we're gonna go to the next. If that's not empty, we're gonna go to the next. If that is empty, then we will stop in here. Okay, so as we see that we have to have a while loop since we are using it many times. Okay, so the first thing we will do before we use the while loop, we will say in here node T, and look in here what we have to do. This is really important. We will say that T will be equal to the head. Why we're saying that? Because we want the T to start from here, from the head, in order to start going from the beginning to the end. Okay, and then we will start with while. What are we gonna have inside the while? We will say 2 to the next, T to the next. If it does not equal to null, that means it's full, then keep going. T will be T to the next. Keep going to the next node. Keep going to the next node, keep going to the next node, keep going to the next node. When you find an empty place, then T to the next will be equal to what? Now, will be equal to the temp. Why temp? Because we already have our value in here, and then we're putting the temp in here, so the 5 will be here. Okay? And then we will end that, and then where we will return to the head again. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and get back to our code really quickly. So as we see in here, this was the last code where we declared the struct, and we have our data, and we have our next, and we said our linked list is an integer linked list, and we have our insert function, and we have the how we insert the data. Now we will go ahead and get another node, another function, and that function to end to D to the end. So that will be node, and then we will say, for example, insert the end. Okay, And now what we have inside the parameters, we have node head, or we can put it like this better. Okay, and then we have int item, since we are adding items. And then we will introduce our temporary node, so node, and that should be, as we said, a pointer. And then we will allocate our temporary node, so it will be temp to the node star, and then we'll say malloc, and then that will be what? That will be size of node 1 star, no star, since we have 1 star in the beginning in there. Okay, perfect. And then we will tell the function like, hey, the temp has data, and then the data will be equal to item. Perfecto. And then we will tell, wait a second, the temp has also next, and that the next will be equal to null. And he said, okay, I will take it. Now we will do the if statement. We will say if the head is equal to null, if it's empty, then what we're gonna do, we will just do that the head will be equal to the temp. Excellent. Now what about else? If we have else, then we have to create another node, and that will be the traveling node to check from node to another. So we will say the node, we'll call it T traverse, and then we will let that node equal to the head, so we can start checking from the beginning, right? And then since we have many nodes, then we have to have a while, right? So we will say T to the next, if the when we travel from next to another, okay, if does not equal to null, which means if it's full, we do not need to do a lot of stuff in here. Only we need one thing to do. So when we go from a node to another, and we will find that node is full and it's not empty, then we will keep going. We will let the T to keep going and check from next to another, from next to another, from next to another. Now, when the T finds checking for us and said, hey, I found this an empty box, and then the T will tell who that they find the empty spot. They will tell temp, because temp has the data, and the temp will put the data inside in there. Okay, finish this. Then we will have to do return what? Returning head. Okay, returning head. Perfect. Now let me just show you something, so I don't want to get that thing longer. What I have done in here, remember that we have only number 1 and number 2. So what I added in here, so the number 1 will be adding to the front, the number 2 will be adding to the end, and number 3 will be just ending the program. Now the user will enter one of those choices, either 1 and 2 and or 3. If the user choose 1, then it will just do this, where it will ask the user to add values. We will take the value from the user, and we will add the function insert, okay, and we will just display. Now this should be, okay, I'm just gonna move this in here, and then we'll say what? Okay, now if the user chooses number 2, which is adding to the end, and then we can just get this. I'm just gonna type it better. Okay, we're gonna tell the user to, where's the end? Enter data. Okay, gonna make it space in here, it's gonna be easy for us. Okay, and then we will take the data from the user, and that data, of course, that will be an integer data, and it will be reading still reading the data which is we declared in here, insert data. Okay, so that will be insert data. Look what I forgot here, I forgot this. Okay, and then what we have to say, we will say head will be equal, and we will get our function insert to the end to the parameter head and insert data. Okay, and then we will display or print our linked list. Okay, I want to explain to you something, guys. It's really important. Okay, now why did we say head will be equal to blah blah blah? Because as I said before, let me just copy this, for example. Okay. Okay, so we're always dealing about the head. The head is the main thing on the linked list. Okay, so the head in here will be equal, okay, to the data, which is to the insert data, which is the inserting that data to the end, and then we will have the head, and we have to insert data. The main thing again that we have to equalize that data to the head. Okay, because we already have been checked with the head. We already have been, if we have would add, like for example, to the beginning, we're pushing the head to get to the other point where we have to add data. So this is always needs to be equalized to the head, because again and again and again, guys, how we identify, let's just put it in that way, how we identify our linked list, by the head. And then again, this head, it's only a value or a variable. You can call it, for example, some people, they call it root. It's totally up to you. Let's go back and run our program. I just did save in here. Let's just do clear. So we will get to our things now. This, the warning and the warning. Okay. Number 90, it has a problem. The insert data. Let's just see that number 90. 90, where's 90? Here we go. We have a problem in here. Okay, this is not right. Oh, do you know what? I did a big mistake. My big mistake was that I declared the data that the customer needs to enter as an insert data. And what is the name of that function? Oh, insert data. Okay, it's different. So this is the problem. So this is, no, hold on a second. Oh, this is in here. This is not right. So that should be insert. This should be like this. And here we go. Now everything should be different. Let's just clear this. And okay. Okay, now when we get in here, these are only warnings, okay? And as I said from the beginning, these are because we did not free our memory, and it's fine, we can keep it for now, but it's really, we have to free our memory, otherwise our computer will be very slow and the whole memory will be used until we just restart the computer. Okay, so let's try number 1, add data. We will add 50, or this is 50? Okay, we will add 50. Okay, 50 has been added. We will add another value to the front. So let's add 60. So that should be 60 and 50. So we added to the front. Okay, now we will add number 2 to add to the end. Let's say we have 300. So now it should go to the end. So it should be 60, 50, and 30. Let's see, 60, 50, and 30. Perfect. So you got the idea. The only difference between adding to the beginning and adding to the end is we are using the T to travel from place to place to find for us the empty box. And when we have the empty box, we will add the temp on the empty box. That is only the whole scenario. Okay, perfect. I hope my video was very easy peasy with about just all of things, and let's just do like this. Yay, we finished everything. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so anyhow, I am going to end this, and I hope my video was easy for all of you.